Hello, I'm Alison from Upotiki College.
And I'm Kayla, I'm also from Upotiki College. Alison and I decided to work collaboratively for the Digital One assessment. We both received an email from Kahoot, which was advertising a program called Kahoot Homework, and we decided to have a conversation about what the homework culture was here at Upotiki College. We both identified the need for students to be able to learn and manage themselves in their own time and be able to complete self-directed study, especially during NCEA and senior school. We then started talking about the difficulties we've had with managing our juniors and their homework culture, so we decided to run a survey to see if others felt the same about it.
Okay, so Kayla and I are busily putting the questionnaire together for the homework and internet survey that we're doing. And I've just been having a lesson 101 on how to use Google Forms, copy and paste. Yeah. Okay, Helene, are you contemplating what you're doing for your survey homework? Excellent, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to describe our feedback from our students. We quickly asked them the 9 manners on the left, the 9 Myers on the right. The 9 manners are the more academically gifted with the higher ASTL and STAR scores, and the 9 manners on the right hand side have got the lower scores. So quickly scrolling through them then, they all recognised Kahoots. There was a difference between how many enjoyed playing it, with the manners enjoying more than the Myers. They had various different reasons. The manners thought that it was quite fun and could be enjoyable because you challenge your friends. The Myers thought it was fun but got bored rather quickly. We surveyed them on their internet usage at home, and you can see that there is more internet available with the manners than there are with the Myers. If they didn't access the internet at home, where did they access it? And a lot of them, it was at school or other family members. If they did have access to the internet, how much of it was actually free Wi-Fi? And you can see that the manners had more access to unlimited Wi-Fi compared to the Myers. Moving swiftly on, there was a variance in the amount of time that they spent on the internet per day, and I think that's just the preferences of the students. More of them spending more time, I think. Yep. Comments about the internet? Nobody had any real comments about the internet. They just wanted to get through the questionnaire, I think, as quickly as possible. We have access to computers out of class time in the Discovery Centre, which is the DC, or in A block, and we see more of the manners took advantage of that at lunch times and before school and at interval. If they use the computer, what did they use them for? And the vast majority of the students use them to play games with a little bit of schoolwork being done. Homework, we surveyed homework expectations with the Maya students on the right hand side having lower expectations of getting homework compared to the manners, and here this was the average per week that they got homework this year, and you can see that the Myers had not got as much homework or perceived homework as the Manor students. The attitude to doing study outside of lesson time, it's a definite no for the Myers. They don't want to do any study outside of the classroom. The Manners are a little bit more adaptable and don't mind doing that. Parents' expectations of homework are remarkably similar in both of the groups, so the parents do expect homework. There's a mixed result of whether the students actually ask for homework, and expectations seem to be rising with the Manners, but the Myers don't seem to think that they're going to be doing very much homework next year in year 10. We surveyed them on their thoughts about doing homework. The vast majority of them thought that it was okay in the Manners, and they knew that it was going to benefit them, but in the Myers they thought that it probably was very boring and they didn't really want to do it. So, in summary, our students are aware of Kahoot. They have different levels of enjoyment when using it as a learning tool. They can access the internet out of class time. Most of them recognise homework as a way of continuing the learning, but does not mean that they like it or have the desire to complete it. We've also noticed that there is a response in their attitudes and expectations between the top set and the mixed ability class. This is how the idea for a Year 9 collaborative learning project outside of the classroom came about. We surveyed the staff and we got a few responses back. Everybody luckily had heard of Kahoot. Some of them have actually even used the Kahoot challenge that we were investigating in originally. Most of them thought that their students liked using Kahoots, and the staff liked using them as well. We had a few ideas on the positives and negatives of using Kahoots. Positives are students are engaged, they enjoy it, it's a quick, easy way to test learning. Students create their own quizzes and you get immediate feedback. On the negative side, there were nicknames, a lack of data projector, and internet issues like freezing or dropping out. Most staff expect their students to study in their own time, and they have different ideas about how much homework they would get, but most people think that their students should get at least an hour of homework per week from their subject. And most people think that parents expect homework to happen. And next year, everybody's expecting to give their Year 10 students at least an hour of homework. The staff had different thoughts about homework. Most of them, it was that the students need to develop the ability to study in their own time. By giving juniors that opportunity to do homework, it will develop good habits for the future. But also homework's only useful if it's relevant and not just a time filler. Some staff commented it's not worth endangering your relationships within the classroom just for the sake of a battle over homework. So in summary, from our findings from the survey, we established that staff would like to develop a homework culture within the school, but at present they don't feel like the idea of ruining the relationships by enforcing the consequences for students who don't do the homework. And so Kayla and I have decided to do our inquiry on creating an innovation focusing on the rebranding of homework as collaborative learning project.
So this brings us to our innovation plan. So our plan is to have a PLG group with our Year 9 teachers here at Portuguese College, and in this PLG we would like to come up with a collaborative project where teachers are helping students produce a real world problem and they solve this through a collaborative homework project. This would mean that Year 9 students could work together across classes. We chose to do this because we noted in our survey that there was a difference between the 9 Mana and the 9 Maya students in terms of homework culture, and we thought that this might eliminate this by students being allowed to pick across the classes. So our first step of our plan would be this year we would hope to sell the Year 9 project to the SLT and gain the go-ahead to run the innovation and staff PDs. We feel this is important to gain support from SLT, as we might be able to ensure that we're working smarter, not harder, by gaining ideas on other groups also running PDs. Our next step would be next year, at the beginning of the year, we would have a staff meeting introducing the Year 9 project idea. This way the staff will understand the need for the Year 9 project, they become aware that SLT are on board and understand the process that we're about to embark on. Alison and I are going to run a PD to gain understanding of the prior knowledge of our teachers and gather ideas for other responses that staff would like to learn how to use. From here we would run a variety of staff PDs. Our first one would be on what is a real world problem and innovation, and we would need to ensure that staff have an understanding of what this is so that they can go back to their classes and gather ideas from our students around what real world problems we have here in Ofortiki. We would also run Google+, Google Classroom, Tour Builder, Kahoot, homework and any others that were identified in our previous staff meeting. We feel that this is important for staff to feel comfortable in the ability to use these digital resources, and it will be useful for them implementing the projects with their students. We'll then have a staff PD finalising the Year 9 projects for Term 2. So we are hoping that staff will be collaborative in coming up with the final ideas for the real world problems that the students will solve, and base their abilities on prior knowledge from their students. Hopefully they'll create the assessment document that will be used for the projects, and as directed by the New Zealand curriculum, the document items should have achievement objectives, learning intentions, key competencies, the 21st century learning skills that will be applied, student instructions, and a marking rubric. We would also like to create milestones in a tracking document where students hand in a part of the project every week. This is so that there's not heaps of marking to do at the end of week 5 for all the teachers, and it also ensures that students are getting feedback regularly on how their project is going, and so that it's not left to the last minute by the students. The next step is actually implementing the Year 9 project. So staff will introduce the Year 9 project, go over the requirements with their students, help that they pick a good partner, and record this down. So what is their real world problem and who are they working with? Students then join the huge classroom in the Google community, and they'll complete a small task so that we ensure that they know how to post these, and then throughout weeks 1 to 5 they'll keep completing those mini milestones that we were talking about earlier. We'll then move on to weekly meetings with teachers, so this will continue to happen while the project is being carried out, and this is so that we can ensure that staff have the time and space to go over the milestone tracking, come up with ideas on how to support students that may need some extra support, and if that's not needed and everything's going well, they can use that time to provide feedbacks for their students. Our final step of the plan is a reflection of the project, so we would like to see students complete an evaluation, staff to complete evaluation. Hopefully staff that are doing this as part of their inquiry will reflect on their own practice, and Alison and I will reflect on the success of our innovation. So this is our 10-week plan.
Well, we'd just like to say thank you very much for listening to our presentation, and wish us good luck when we actually approach the senior leadership team to try and actually get the go-ahead to do all this. And have a very happy Christmas and a great new year. From me, Alison, and
Me, Kayla. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Night night.